Hello and welcome to FEB News. Xia Baolong, director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, continued his Hong Kong tour for a third day. He tapped views from the care teams and other community organizations on district-level governance with a trip to Lion Rock Park. Saturday morning with a dim sum breakfast. That's what kicked off day 3 of the Hong Kong trip of Xia Baolong, Beijing's senior official responsible for Hong Kong affairs at Nanfeng Plaza in Tseung Kwan O, joined by Chief Executive John Lee. He was briefed on the district-level work by representatives of district committees and members of the care teams. Access was restricted. This patron said there were police officers everywhere, with some people being stopped and searched. But the arrangement was understandable given a VIP was visiting, he said. After Xia Baolong took his seat, some patrons were allowed in. Xia Baolong left after about 1.5 hours with a New Year greeting. The fact-finding team then headed to the Tseung Kwan O government complex to exchange views from Sai Kung district councillors. Christine Fong, a Sai Kung district councillor who attended the meeting, said Xia commended their work and described them as charismatic. For lunch, they headed to this seafood restaurant in Sai Kung. Some Sai Kung residents who went there in the hope of seeing Xia in person said they hope the Beijing official can help improve the living environment in Hong Kong. Next stop, a barbecue site at Lion Rock Park. Accompanied by Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Kevin Yeung, Xia was briefed on Hong Kong's recreation and sports facilities. Also in attendance were Zhen Yanxiong and Liu Guangyuan, Director and Deputy Director of Beijing's Liaison Office in Hong Kong. Xia stayed there for 15 minutes, with a photo op in front of the Lion Rock Mountain and 2 mascots from the Leisure and Cultural Services Department. Legal Week, which is organized by the Law Society of Hong Kong, began today. Deputy Secretary for Justice Horace Cheung said he hopes the event can help raise public awareness towards the rule of law. The Society's President Chan Chak-ming said free legal counseling services during Legal Week has been popular among Hong Kong citizens. Main questions from the public include rental, building management, and environmental hygiene issues. On the legislation work on Article 23, Chan said the group's select committee has spent much time over the past few weeks studying the government's proposals and would issue a formal written submission before the end of the consultation period. The UK has reaffirmed their support for Ukraine on the 2nd anniversary of Russia's invasion of the country by reportedly pledging to additionally supply more than £200 million worth of ammunition. But Ukraine is struggling for more aid from the US. NBC News traveled to the front lines and filed this report.
After nearly 2 years of war in Ukraine, the tide is shifting as Congress holds up billions in aid, allowing Russian troops last week to make their biggest advance in nearly a year. Today, a group of 5 Democratic senators met with Ukraine's President Zelensky.
We have heard from so many that if you don't get the aid, you will lose the war. But if you get the aid, you will win the war.
Cross fingers that we're still together.
President Putin is counting on divisions in the United States to give him victory in Ukraine. We traveled to the far east of Ukraine, to the frontline town of Chasiv Yar, to see what effect the stalled American aid is having. Russian troops are closing in and are now less than a mile away.
And this is the town hall destroyed by Russian strikes. And on the wall, Ukrainian troops have left a message, the same message that we're hearing time and time again everywhere in Ukraine now. It says, "We are not asking too much. We just need artillery shells and aviation. The rest, we do ourselves."
I went down into a bunker to a secret artillery control position. The war in Ukraine is being fought from underground rooms like this.
So they're about to fire another artillery round at Russian troops just on the outskirts of the town. And there, it just landed.
No confirmed hit this time, and that's bad news. They're now rationing ammo.
What does the lack of weapons and ammunition mean for troops here in Ukraine?
When we had enough ammunition, we could go on the offensive. Now we can only defend, the commander says. Back outside, the acting mayor, Serhi Chaus, is more blunt. We don't understand what is happening. Why suddenly no one understands us anymore? The war is not over. It's getting tougher, he says.
Welcome back. Today is the Lantern Festival, marking the 15th day of the Lunar New Year. As per tradition, Chinese people around the world celebrate by partaking in lantern-related activities. Timothy Lee tells us more.
The celebratory spirit is still strong late into Chinese New Year, as residents flock to Lantern Festival markets in the SAR to enjoy the festive atmosphere. One such market in Wong Tai Sin offers over 80 food and goods stalls and will last for 3 days beginning on Friday. Here, revelers will be able to purchase traditional handicrafts and special festive delicacies. This woman said she came here to celebrate as well as to give some offerings to the temple. While this young history buff noted the festival was the Valentine's Day of ancient China. He said back then, girls would give sachets to their partners and loved ones on this special occasion. At Statue Square in Central, many also took the opportunity to take some final photos with the giant Chubby Hearts installation on its final day of display. In Kuntong, local district councillors celebrated the festival by organizing flash mob performances of the popular mainland dance known as Ke Musan, also known as Subject 3 Dance Abroad. Some of the organizers said they wanted to share this sliver of mainland culture to the Kuntong community.
I think one of the challenges is that we need to prepare and learn this dance in a very short period of time, and many of them don't dance at all. So, but they have that inspiration and they want to show the people in Kuntong that they can do it. We're just kind of surprised that this dance is very famous around the world, but not in Hong Kong. So I think one of the reasons that we want to bring it to Hong Kong and like do it with in the Chinese New Year period.
Besides wishing residents health and happiness on this Lantern Festival, organizers of the popular mainland Subject 3 dance performance said they hope to further spread the popular dance across the world. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Today is the MTR's Thank You Day, which offered half-price fares to passengers. This Thank You Day falls on Lantern Festival. Adult tickets from Sheng Shui to Laohu, for instance, cost $12.90 after a 50% discount. Some passengers said because today was a weekend, they made use of the half-price fares to go to the mainland. The MTR organizes Thank You Days to ensure that the accumulative pool of service performance rebate amount from the previous year is fully given back to passengers. In Beijing, more than 1,000 lanterns were displayed at an event to celebrate the Lantern Festival. The first 1,000 Festive Lanterns event was held at the Wenyuhe Park in Beijing. The festival comprises 6 themes, including a dragon-themed one celebrating the Year of the Dragon. The largest lantern stands at a height of 15 meters and follows the theme of a light in the new spring. It was made using traditional methods and took 20 days to complete. The organizer of the event said the Lantern Festival is the largest of its kind in northern China and hopes that it is able to combine traditional Chinese culture together with technological elements popular with youngsters. In the U.S., former President Donald Trump claimed that his criminal indictments have boosted his support among Black Americans because they see him as a victim of discrimination. Trump also came out in support of IVF and called on lawmakers in Alabama to preserve access to the treatment after the state's Supreme Court ruled that frozen embryos can be considered children under state law. He made the remarks while campaigning ahead of the Republican presidential primary in South Carolina this weekend. Tracy Furness has more.
Speaking in South Carolina in his third run for the White House, Republican Party frontrunner Donald Trump was garnering votes from Black Americans, comparing their history of discrimination to his recent criminal indictments.
Black conservatives understand better than most that some of the greatest evils in our nation's history have come from corrupt systems that try to target and subjugate others, to deny them their freedom and to deny them their rights. You understand that. I think that's why the black people are so much on my side now, because they see what's happening to me happens to them.
Trump was referring to the filing of felony charges against him, claiming he is the victim of political persecution. He alleges President Joe Biden and a deep state is targeting him as he faces charges of trying to overturn the 2020 election results. At a rally in Rock Hill, Trump called on Alabama lawmakers to preserve access of IVF treatment. It was his first comment on this issue since an Alabama Supreme Court ruling that led to some providers in the state to suspend their in vitro fertilization programs. IVF is a process of fertilizing a woman's egg outside the ovary before returning it to the womb to grow and develop. This issue has left Republicans divided.
We want to make it easier for mothers and fathers to have babies, not harder. And today I'm calling on the Alabama legislature to act quickly to find an immediate solution to preserve the availability of IVF in Alabama.
Trump's remarks come ahead of the Republican presidential primary in South Carolina that pits him against the state's former governor, Nikki Haley. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.